This is a very exciting time here on campus because this week we have our 54th Northwood University International Auto Show. This takes place on Friday from 1 until 6, Saturday 9 to 6, and then on Sunday from 10 to 5. This week I got to sit down with General Chair Charles Elledge and Vice Chair Ali Nasrallah to get their take on the show and some exclusive content on what you can look forward to. Charles, thanks for joining me today. I know being General Chair, it's so busy for you with Auto Show coming up so soon, but thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
So the first thing I'm curious about with this year's Auto Show is what makes this year's Auto Show, or NUIAS, so unique compared to the last 53 shows?
Really good question. So we have a few new components that we've added this year with our fundraising and really with our captains. I think that's some of the coolest things we've had changes this year is the motivation and dedication of our captains to the show. Just in terms of fundraising, our captains have sometimes raised thousands of dollars for special events and special pieces for their display. I think our biggest one is Team Toyota is going to have the number 18 Kyle Busch NASCAR stock car here over the weekend. So I think in terms of uniqueness, our captains have done an awesome job at really bringing new events and new special things to the show this year.
And speaking of captains, NUIAS is completely student run, so how is that possible?
Absolutely. So we definitely have a lot of help from our administration and our faculty, a lot of advisors that help us out along the way with different contacts. But we have a 14-person executive board, and we have 65 captains, and then by the end of the weekend, over 600 students will be involved at the show. So when it comes to contacting dealers and companies for fundraising, getting cars, setting up the display, every single thing is done by a student. So, and every decision gets to be made by a student, which is really cool. I think it really points to Northwood and how they're pretty hands-off with the process. We have a guidebook of how we have to do things, but at the end of the day, we really get to make those decisions and really get to make the show our own.
Absolutely, and that's great too for your resume, especially for those students that do want to pursue a career in the automotive field.
Absolutely.
So as General Chair, Charles, what are you doing to make sure that Auto Show continues to get better and better every year and make those changes for the future?
Yeah, so I think we have really tried to update our processes of how the show is created each year. Over 54 years, we have a pretty good sense of how things should be done. But we've found that some things are a little outdated. So we've been continuing to put contracts for our dealers online so they're not having to fax things in. When we talk about our captains being able to fundraise more, that was through our Text to Donate program that we had put on. So captains could give a name and a number out, and that can be donated right off someone's phone. So we really tried to update those processes and bring us into the 21st century of how an actual business would be ran, and just making sure that the next year's chair and the next year's team has less of a learning curve. So they have less time trying to figure out what do we need to do, what steps need to happen, and they can just get pick the pieces up and move along, keep putting the show bigger and better.
Right, because when you think of it, 54 years, I mean, things have changed so much.
Absolutely.
So it's great to be able to make those updates, and excellent to remember that by too. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Charles, and we'll see you at Auto Show.
Awesome, thanks for having me.
Ali, what special attractions will be at this year's NUIAS?
Yeah, so we have special attractions that range from for anyone whoever's interested in things such as aquatics all the way to the vehicles that are there. So we have some things like on a certain day we'll have the Oscar Mayer Wiener. We'll also have the Kyle Busch M&M race car, the real one. And then we'll also have things such as exotic cars like the Audi R8 V10 Spider, and all the way down to really you name it and it'll be there. So everything from domestic to European, low end, high end, everything. So.
Wow, and I know growth was huge for this year's show, so how many new teams have been added?
Definitely, yeah, so we've had around 15 teams that have been added to the show, so it's definitely really helping out in the overall look of it.
How does NUIAS benefit our student body as well as extend into the community to add benefit there?
So the students actually have a lot of experiential learning that they have right there throughout that whole weekend. We have people like executives of major companies walking through, talking to them, and I mean there have been job opportunities that come right from the auto show. It's time for students to really see what they can make out of that year, of that weekend, and there's a lot to be made there. for the community as well. I mean, it's a huge event for the community. Families always come to it as well. It's definitely a huge thing that everyone puts on their calendars. So it's a great thing to really wrap up the end of the season for everyone.
Especially being free to the public. I'm sure that's huge. And parking is free too, right?
Yes, parking and admission will both be free. So.
Wonderful. And what special event is happening during Auto Show that we can look forward to?
So on Friday at 10:50, we'll actually have our executive luncheon, and it's a whole panel of executives, and that's free to the students. So they can just come in at 10:50, and we'll have them speaking on different issues. It's more discussion based, so different things from automotive, also to just general failures in life, how they motivated themselves to get there where they are. So it's going to be very interesting.
And then there's also a ribbon cutting ceremony too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the ribbon cutting will be at 1 p.m. in front of the church building.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you for your time today, and we'll all look forward to attending Auto Show.
Yep.